Okay, so this is going to be a very natural contour. Highlighting underneath my eye, I'm going to be using this e.l.f. HD High Lifting Concealer that I purchased from Walgreens. Okay, so this is in the color medium, and this concealer is so silky smooth. For today, I'm going to use this stippling brush to smooth that out. And for me, I just like to do the bottom first. No particular form of fashion. You can do this with a beauty blender, you know, whatever you feel most comfortable using. Come on here. On to the next step. I'm using that same brush that I put that lighter powder in, that lighter concealer in. You can use two different ones if you feel like it'll accidentally mix or whatever, but I don't have any problem with it. So this, like I said, is going to be a nice and simple. I like my foundation brush better for that. So I'm just highlighting my cheeks, kind of slimming my face out. And you should absolutely not use this type of brush. You should use something with a more flat, bigger, flatter, you know, to give you a more precise. But, you know, just act like I was using something like that. So for right here, I'm just slimming out my face. If your face is flat, mine's I have high cheekbones anyway, but if your face is flat, this is going to help you to give you some oomph in your cheek area. Then I'm going to do down here to kind of hide my little double chinage that I have. And if you have a more rounder face and you want a more heart-shaped bottom face, then you would contour the edges of your jawbone right here, because you're drawing, you know, giving an illusion. So I'm gonna I'm gonna blend that top portion out. And as you can see, I already have the line. We're gonna fix that some so it's not so sharp. But now I'm gonna take this small like concealer brush and contour my nose. Now my nose is already, and you wanna go a little bit into the brow. My nose is already a little slim, but this is what you would do. If your nose is long, you don't wanna make your nose look longer than what it already is by dragging everything down. So my nose is already a little, you know, longer, so we're not gonna make that appear longer. And I'm just gonna contour up under here a little bit to kind of, my nose doesn't go over, but we're gonna give it a little lift. And you do that by making the little shadow effect right there. So that's basically all I'm gonna do for that. And I'm gonna take this little blending brush and just blend that out right now. Using a little bit around the forehead area. And now I'm kind of going back into that contour I did right here. And so you already see the face shaping. So now what I'm gonna do is take my setting powder. by Maybelline Fit Me. And I know that my color is 330, but 320 setting powder goes better for me for some reason. Ooh, it's hot. So I'm going to take this big fluffy brush and just set my foundation that I put on. So now we're going to set underneath our eyes with this translucent powder. Not with this because I don't want to change the color of the highlight that I put under my eyes. So this will allow it to stay the same color. If you did it, your highlight way too light, then you can add some of your setting powder and give it, you know, tone it down a little bit. I'm going to be using this setting powder by True Match by L'Oreal. And it kind of has an orangey undertone, which looks, I believe, looks nice on my complexion. So that's what I'm going to go over that powder with. And of course I would have, you know, the scarf on. So I'm just going to pull this over some.
Mom, you gotta lock yourself in the bathroom, right? So I'm just going over what I did.
Whatever setting powder it is that you have. So I'm using this translucent setting powder, which is by Milani, and it's very affordable. Purchased it at Walmart, okay? And it looks like this, and this is what it's the Prep Set and Go. This is what I use to set my concealer.
So if you just want to make that cheek go blow, you would just set that underneath for a little bit. Leave that there for a little second.
Be using this blush by Colormates, and I purchased this from the Dollar Tree, and this is in the color Sun Kissed Tan.
So then I would just add that here. Like, you just want to be everywhere today. You can give a little, like I like to smile, but I like to, yeah, give one of those.
Okay, so now that you have your blush on, let's wipe a little bit of that powder off so you're not looking ashy. And this, I'm using the brush that I had the leftover setting powder on. Now that's when you would go into, you can bronze a little bit more and highlight, which is what I like to do. I like to pack it on sometimes, even though this is a very natural look. So I have this, I need another one. This is by Nika K, and it's called the 24, Cafe 24, and I got this from my local beauty supply store. I'm gonna bronze with that outside brown color and highlight with that middle color. Now, wait a minute, I usually like this, I like to set my face before I do my highlight. So sometimes I use the same primer mist to set my face, and sometimes I use the makeup setting spray, and I decided to try the makeup setting spray by Hard Candy, and it's called Fast and Fabulous. So let's go in with this. That smells good. It smells cucumbery. Love it. So now I'm gonna go into this, that my face is, you know, all setting. You see that? I like to just go over what I just did with that and be sure not to mess up what you did down here. So we're just going above that. And this is a bronzer, so if you want a matte look, you would stop there. Matte meaning no shimmer. Then you would kind of stop right there. But if you want that glow, go ahead and bronze and highlight. So yes, I'm using that same brush. I'm gonna have to wash this brush really good that I did all of my contouring with to do my highlight. Look, oh my goodness, look at that. And I like to go on a little C, meaning I like to go a little bit from the edge of my brow to my temple to my cheek. And I love this highlight because it highlights you, but it doesn't look like you just took your finger and smeared, you know, oh, you just disrespected me. I just said how I liked you. Maybe I did too much. Yeah, that's the look that I don't like. So we'll, you know, fix that. So I'm going to fix that with this little soft, fluffy brush. And kind of, you know, get that buffed out. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah, you got me. You got me. Highlights. But yes, go into your little C. But if you like that really intense look, see, we buffed it out some. But if you like the straight, intense look, then do that. Some like to do the Cupid's bow and put it, the highlight all up and down their lips and stuff. You know, I skip that step. And I do a little bit of highlight on the nose. And I love doing right here, like in between my brows and my forehead, to give me a whole, like, I don't know, I just love it. And you can do right here like you want and right here, but like I said, you just go in where you love. Where you love to go. Okay? Okay, so that was just a little clip of me earlier in the natural, dry your hands, baby, in the natural sunlight when I first did my makeup. And guess what, everyone? Sorry. This is what? 9 hours later. And look at that. And this was using all affordable makeup products with a Fit Me. And I told you that setting spray is the bomb. Everything is still on there. You know, it's a little tiny bit of fading around, you know, my mouth. Very, very little. Like, I have not touched up. I have not repowdered, redone anything. And that dewiness is from the foundation because it's dewy and smooth. And that highlight, remember, I highlighted up here and right here, and you know. So yes, this is hours and hours and later, but look, still looking natural, still a very beautiful looking contour and highlight. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on how to contour and highlight very naturally to make you have a very natural looking look. All right, so for more videos like this, please thumbs up and be blessed. Oh, and if you like my lashes, I purchased these from Walmart. Yeah. All right, I'll have the product description under the bottom too. All right, be blessed.